let's go ahead and get started. So I have my colored pencils right here, and I have my colors. So the first thing that I'm going to do, while they are still together, if yours are cut apart, that is perfectly fine. You can put them kind of back together, you know, just kind of put them side by side like this, is I am going to mark really quick which ones are which color. So then, as I hope you can see this, as I am piecing, I know that this is all trunk, this is all trunk, this is all trunk. It doesn't need to be really deep or anything. So then the other thing is that I'm just going to mark these as being green. What color are you using for the ground? I'm going to use this one for the trunk, I believe. And then I think I will be using this for the ground in J1 and I1, I think. And then G1 and H1 are both going to be blue. So then I'll just grab my blue and I will mark here that these are blue. So then I just kind of have an idea, and then these are going to be dark brown. Oh good, one of my kids have come. Can you get me a pencil, please? Thank you. So then I will just mark this as dark brown. And then the rest of these are all green. The only thing to note is that D1 and F6 must be the same. No, D2 and F6. Yes, D2, right here. So we have D2 is down here, and we have F6 over here. These need to be the same color. So mental note. So then I'm going to color these. For the most part, okay. See, I could have done it this way. I could have done it this way. Okay, I'm going to move the comments over to the side for just a quick second. So D4, I apologize. D4 and F6 are both supposed to be green. Okay, do you see how those are going to match up? And we have D2 that is blue here. So what I like to do is I like to line these up so that I know where they lie. That's what I should have done instead of having them side by side. So if you have them up on top of each other, then you can see I should have known to put them up on top of each other so then I can see that these two are part of the same one. And then I wouldn't have been confused. Okay, so you should have your little bit colored or marked or something like that. So generally what I do is I chain piece a whole bunch of these together. I will move the comments back over so I can see. There we go. Okay, I am going to be working with A1 for right now, just for A1, and then I am going to chain piece these together. And so if you have your greens picked out, you can go ahead and cut those. I will not cut these apart because inevitably what's going to happen is I will lose them because that's how things roll around here. And I had a little bit of one of these left, so we're going to use this. Okay, And my glue stick also disappeared. The other funny thing this week that happened is my bobbin case broke on one of my machines, the machine that I use every day. Just randomly broke. So I had to rearrange everything in the last 2 days and use my old machine that my 11-year-old now uses, and she was not really thrilled that I was using her machine. But so the other thing that I'm really not concerned about with this fabric, this is the one with the trees, I'm not concerned at all in which direction these go. If anything, I would prefer for these to be facing down, but for this video I am not concerned in the least bit, because this is just going to turn out really beautifully. So what I do, and I don't have enough electrical outlets in here, usually what I use is a light box so I can see where everything is going to be, and then I trim it down. This is for illustration purposes only for tonight. I do not score all of my lines. I cannot stress to you how much I discourage scoring all of your lines, and the biggest reason is if you have to take anything out and you have scored all of your lines, all of these seams have become weakened, and it's going to be an issue. It's not irreparable, but just know that I am not a fan of doing that. So you'll turn your template over and put a little bit of glue in section A1. The next piece that we are going to be sewing, or the first piece that we are going to be sewing, is A2. So what I'm looking for, if you'll notice, I turned the first piece only upside down. So the right side is down, okay? There's no funny magic or sorcery with foundation paper piecing. It really gets a really, really bad rap. It's just the first part can be a little bit tricky, but you always sew right sides together. So if you do not have right sides together, you have set up one of your pieces incorrect. So I put glue on here so that it stays put. It stays where I want it to be. See, it's going to stay nicely. And then I overcut just a little bit. Okay, I put my ruler over the edge. You can see, maybe you can see, you can move the comments out of the way, you should be able to. And I want to have a little bit of overhang. Okay? And you can see that I have roughly a 1/4 inch seam here. I wonder if I can zoom. There we go. Now what I'm going to do to save time later, I've scored that one, and on this ruler, I know that the side with the dashed lines is an accurate 1/4 inch. On this side with the larger dashed lines, the white dashed lines, it is not. So I always use the same side. And let's see, I need to move it out. I have lined up the dashes. Let me take you out of my tripod thingy. We'll do it actually like this. So can you see here that the dashed line is on the folded edge? Okay, so then I will be cutting along the 1/4 inch line. Okay, so we have that there. Now we have a blue. So I'll move these out of the way. This is a brand new fat 1/4. I haven't used this one yet, so I'm going to give this a press. Sorry, it's off camera. I just don't have enough room. All right, I will use a larger ruler and I'm going to look over my pieces. So this is where I'm sub-cutting some of these, and I'm going to look at the largest pieces here. And what I have is that the largest piece is about 3 inches wide. So I will cut my fabric into a strip about 3 inches wide. I like doing this for a few, oh my goodness, and my dog came in. Crazy beast. Hey Ellie, can you come help Coco? She's tangled up in my microphone. This is really comical, ladies. Very, very comical. Thank you for for joining me for Comic Hour. Okay. Thanks, Elle. And can you take the red pillow? Okay. So then we have this here, and one of the largest tips that I can impart to you, hopefully you cannot see. Here, we'll do it this way. You need to make sure that your fabric goes higher than your template piece. You can see where this is printed here, and it needs to go wider than where it is printed there. Do not worry about this part here. That doesn't matter at all, because this is going to open just like your right sides are always together, and then you open it up and then you sew your next piece. This is the same as you have always known, always right sides together. All right, so then this is going to be perfect. So let me get my machine set up, and then I will move you over so you can see what I am sewing here. Okay, so then what I do is I have the needle, it will go down exactly in the center of the line. And generally what I do is I like to pin my pieces just in case they shift. I always have. I don't sew over my pins, but I just really like things to not move. That's the beauty of foundation paper piecing. Goodness gracious, I cannot figure out why this is not. This is being a little bit difficult. Okay, so let me know if I'm going too fast or if I'm going too slow. So you'll sew right along that seam. I forgot to tell you, if you are absolutely brand new, you will want to lower your stitch length to 1.5 or 1.6, around in that area. Hold on, I have to move a dog. Okay, so I'm going to press this open. And this is just normal pressing it open. If you need to see this, let me know, but this is just normal. Press your seams open. With foundation paper piecing, it will only go in one direction until you put your template pieces together. Okay, so you can see it's been pressed open. I like to use a wool pressing mat. I have one on my blog that I recommend. I have two, and the one that I recommend is the absolute best. The other one is horrible. I don't even recommend it because it's just atrocious. So I am not cutting along the dotted line. I'm giving myself extra room. So the atrocious one is 100% wool, and it scorched my iron. And the pressing mat that I love, what side of the fabric is facing the paper? Great question. So for A1, B1, C1, all of the ones, you will want the wrong side of the paper to be facing the wrong side of the fabric. Okay, so you glue on the wrong side of the paper in section A1. It doesn't have to be corner to corner, just a dot will do you. Put your paper so the wrong sides are meeting for just number 1. Then for 2, 3, 4, 5, however many there are, you will do right sides together. And you will, when this is folded over, this is your 1/4 inch seam. So this is the same seam. And then you're sewing here, and that becomes your line. So this is where you would normally sew. The 1/4 inch seam is invisible until you pull it back like this, okay? So then you have A2 is like this. We'll fold back A3, and again, I'm looking for, actually, I'm going to give this a little bit of glue because I can see that it's going to be fiddly. I really like my glue. It's like kindergarten over here, glue and paper. Okay, so here's my 1/4 inch seam. I had already cut it. Okay, but if I hadn't, then I would cut it and then line up your next piece, wrong sides together, always, or right sides together, always right sides together. And I'm checking to make sure that I have enough room around the template, along the dotted bit of the template. And I'm going to pin. And then I'm going to sew, hopefully. Did that help the question that you had, Deanna? Let me know. Hopefully this does not wiggle too much. And then needle along the center of the line. If it gets off a little bit, don't worry about it. Not that big of a deal. And I'm going to press the seam in the only direction that it goes. Ouch! Ooh, hot, hot, hot. Okay. Let me know if you are watching or if you are sewing along. If you're sewing along, you probably won't be able to say at the same time. So this time I am going to be trimming along the dotted line. But what I like to do is, just in case my seam allowance has not printed correctly, like if I haven't printed on 100%, then I would definitely do this. I just always get in the habit of using the 1/4 inch marking on my ruler, and I cut along the edge. So I line it up with the solid line here, And then I trust my ruler more than I trust this, because the fabric and the paper can move. And I've learned the hard way that it is so much easier to line my 1/4 of an inch dashed line up along the solid line and then cut, instead of trying to figure out where that dashed line is. It's kind of like, you know, when you're cooking or baking and you need a liquid measurement, it's better to use, you know, look at it from the side. I feel like that's the same thing with the 1/4 of an inch. So for this little bit here, I'm going to leave it, but I will come back, and this part I trim with scissors because I can get it a little bit more precise. I'm going to start putting some of these together, by the way. And I will cut these open. So the water was rushing fast. That's what I was trying to say with the time frame. It was just really fascinating to think that all these people had to cross the water in their wagons, and the water was still rushing really fast. Okay, so one of the reasons why I will wait on the outside is because as you fold these over, if you have already cut this down to size before you have sewn it together and it's been pushed out, then suddenly the paper and the fabric are kind of disjointed. They're out of alignment. So this is one of the big reasons. And it makes more of an importance on large blocks, but it is also very important when you have lots of seams together, because they all kind of push each other out. So that's just kind of a good habit to get to start doing, is to wait on cutting around all 4 sides until you have joined them together. So I want the outside to match up, and I am hopeful that the inside will match up. These don't have really any seams that will match. So I'm going to take the outside bits and then the middle, and then hopefully it will disperse evenly. I hope that makes sense. Okay, there's one. So that was GH to IJ. All right. And I'm going to clip off the ends on E. Oops. I normally do not suggest holding this in the air and cutting, but the reason I have is because I glued it. That's the only reason. Okay, E to F. And here's another little tabby. Again, I like to just glue these down. One tip about releasing the glue is that if you press it first and have it warm, the glue just releases. So even if you've had papers sitting for a while, this works for English paper piecing as well as for foundation paper piecing. If you've had the paper sitting for a bit, just heat it up with the iron, and then they will it'll release a lot easier. Oops, I didn't move the camera. again, you're just sewing right along that solid line. Oh. And I do chain piece these together, and then I just clip them apart. Tearing off your seam tabs. Because these are smaller blocks, one thing that might be helpful, but I do say it with caution, is these, once you, if you're going to press open, they become a little bit tricky right in here to remove the papers. So definitely with these smaller ones, well, that's on the outside. Here, this is a really good example. What I should have done is I should have removed this, this little bit here first before I sewed it together. Normally I try to catch that. This one should probably be okay. And then as you're removing papers, if you get like 90% of it done, of the paper out, it'll be just fine. The paper will eventually dissolve, and then it'll just come out in the wash. So I don't worry about these parts here. I just leave them. Actually, the G3. So here's one that I will remove. All right, so that is the bottom. All right, I will move those over. Where did A go? Here's A. A and B. So I'm going to trim these up. Hopefully these will come together fairly easily. Sometimes these little bits can be a little bit finicky to get together. Actually, I kind of hope that maybe they're a little bit finicky, so then I can help you. So then you can see how I troubleshoot this. So what I do is I use my fingers to see where are these going to be joining together. I'm going to look at my picture just to make sure. Okay, that is correct. So these two pieces right here need to meet. So I use my thumb and my forefinger and I pinch. Okay, so that is perfect. So what I am going to do is I'm going to put a pin just right above it. Right like that. So that's fine here. The other thing that you can do is you can see if the sides meet. Since I already have a pin there, you won't be able to see it. But then I'm going to come down here, and I don't think that these meet, so I don't think that, yeah, that's fine. So that's the only seam that, other than the outside, that needed to to have a seam or a seam join together. And you can kind of see here that these are close. I don't rely on the outside. This is again where I rely on where I know that they need to meet, and then I let it kind of all come together. Okay, so that's A and B. remove the tabby papers. This also helps make your seams really nice and flat. Oh, I should check in the event to see if anybody has commented there. Okay, that one's done. And C and D. Oops. I will say that it's probably not totally necessary for all of these tab bits to be cut off, but sometimes it is. I don't always cut them off. Sometimes I do. Okay, so this is another one that I'm going to move these comments over so I can make sure you can see this. That the sides don't matter here, and these sides don't matter, which is always really nice, but it does in the center. So, kind of eyeball it here. And then we're just going to, oh look, that actually came together really well. I'm just going to double check. I want that to come over just a little bit. Okay, so that was perfect. Did you see what I did there? I'm just looking, I'm pinching right on the seam, and then I'm just looking to make sure that that makes a really nice, even straight line. And then I feel like that's where the magic all comes together. Okay, pin it together. Alright, I'm actually going to grab oh look, isn't that beautiful? Look how nicely that came out. And that one did too. That's perfect. Good deal. Okay, so I'm going to actually put these together here, and then I'll just press them all together. So A, B, C, D. And let me, no, I don't need that. I need, come on, little computer. I'm going back to the picture. Oh, nice. So between A, B, and C, D, they do not need to match anywhere on the inside. So then what you do is you'll kind of look at both of these here. And you kind of look and see, are they kind of the same distance apart, and then do the same pinchy method. It's very scientific. It's just hard to write the pinchy method. All right, and then double check on the other side to make sure that you have it right. This is where I like to, I think I need it like this. I get nervous when it's a diagonal. I get a little bit nervous that edges are not straight. I should move the comments back over so I can see. Okay. Okay. We only have 3 more seams. I hope that you guys are hanging in there. And your blocks are coming together really well. It is getting late where you guys are. It's getting late here. Look at that. Da da da! I feel like it's always just so magical. All right, and for pressing these, I'm just going to go in one direction today. I might change it later, but I'm not too terribly concerned about it for right now. I'm going to put my not clamp, but the clapper. That is the word I'm looking for. And then for E and F, I am pressing toward E. I don't have the directions right in front of me. All right, and then I'm going to join E, F, ouch, to G, H, I, J. And here's one that is a little bit, I will move you back so you can see what I'm talking about, a little bit wonky. So this one, you can see here, it doesn't really want to lay flat. So I pinned it on the other side, and I realized that one side was bowing. So I want the bow on the bottom. I will flip this over. And the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen the papers on the top piece once I get it all pinned in place. This tree trunk might not match quite as well, but that's okay. Actually, that might be all right. Nope. It did not want to play as nicely over here as I wanted, but that's okay. We're not going to split hairs about it. I'm not going to take the seam out. It's not that big of a deal. We will be able to make it all work. Especially when the blocks all come together. All right, so let me press this guy. And I'm going to, on this one, I'm going to be pressing toward GH for tonight. I'm not really paying attention to the, let's see what it says. Seams open. Open. Most of them just say press. Alright, so then here we have this one again. Same as before. be fine there. So we'll do this. So this is the last seam, ladies. Thank you for joining me tonight. This has been so much fun. This was a longer block. And for those of you who have never foundation paper pieced before, congratulations. Pat yourself on the back. I am so proud of you. Yay, that is correct. Good, good, good. I just wanted to double check to make sure that I had the right fabric. And now you are seasoned. You are a pro. And to those of you who have been English or foundation paper piecing for a while, you are just adding to your skill set. And I am super proud of you guys as well. So this becomes the part that I absolutely love, where it just all comes together. And you can see if your seams were right, and if they weren't, it's okay. Because there's absolutely no judgment. Because I have seams that are oftentimes not correct. Okay, so are you ready? Imaginary drum roll. Dun, dun, dun. Look at that. Didn't that come out nice? So nice. Let me press it and then I'll give you a good look. And this one, so when you get to it, I would recommend pressing the D to EF open. That's probably going to work best, or whichever way the seams want to go. Thank you. That is true. They don't grow perfectly straight. That is true. Thanks, Carol. That's really kind of you. The other thing is, once you remove all of your papers and you give it a final press, your block will really lay nice and flat. But this one's kind of wanting to curl a little bit. But there you go. It all came together as planned. The seams look pretty good. I have no complaints. And then even if your seams didn't come together quite as well as you had hoped, take several steps back because you won't notice it in the big picture. I think one thing that I wish I would have done on my quilt that I had anticipated with this is I wanted to put the National Park block down here and then have this open over here. So that's just maybe something that you might want to think through with it. I just really wanted it to be really, really big and take up a lot of space. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up tonight. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Let me know in the comments, and I will answer all of your questions. And I will get the next event up, and you can put it on your calendar, and it will be a shorter sew for the next one. And I think what I'll do is I will pull fabrics in advance. And now you have this video, and there's another video that I had done on fabric selection, and if you have any questions you can leave them in the event, but then we'll just get into sewing, and hopefully we can sew in about maybe an hour and a half. That would be my goal for a 4-inch block. Thank you all for joining me. This was so much fun. If you have any suggestions, please also let me know about that, and I will see you in the next sew along. Have a great evening. Oh, and post your block. After the live, you should be able to post your block to the comments. You can post them in the sew along. Oh, and Joan, it's so easy. Once you get the hang of put the first block down with the wrong sides together, score the first line, 1/4 of an inch cut, line up the next one so it's the same thing, and then you press and then trim. It's really, this is super, super simple. That's all that is to it. So give it a go. I can't wait to see all of your beautiful blocks, and I will see you in the next sew along. I'll talk to you ladies later. Bye-bye.